Okay, so I am here with Amanda Ward, who is the Business Development Manager for Globus Brands. Globus includes Globus, Cosmos, and Monograms Tours, as well as Avalon Waterways. But today I'm going to be talking to Amanda about the land tours that Globus offers. So thank you, Amanda. Welcome to my podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks. All right. Very good. Okay. So, what areas of the world does Globus cover?
So, Globus really does have almost a completely worldwide portfolio. We actually have 514 different vacations in 76 different countries. So, out of all of the major destinations that usually fall on people's bucket list, we do have land itineraries in all of those destinations.
Mhm. Excellent. All right. So, what would you say are kind of the more popular areas right now? I mean, I know that a lot of people aren't or haven't been traveling, lately, but what would you say have been the most popular destinations out of all of those?
To be honest, I really haven't seen a whole lot of difference as far as the destinations that were normally popular before 2020 change much.
Hmm.
I think that people have a good understanding that these destinations are going to take the proper precautions. This is really a worldwide issue. So we're still seeing a lot of bookings for Europe, which is usually our most popular destination. I think North America is going to be pretty popular this year as well. That's always a great popularity. I think people are realizing that there's so much to see close to home. There's a lot more that we haven't done. We always think we're going to get there and we don't always do it sometimes. So, those are probably going to be the two most popular destinations for us in 2021.
Hmm. Yeah, the I think the domestic or U.S. destinations make a lot of sense to people. I mean, I don't think they want to, travel too far from home right now, and in a lot of ways they can't right now either.
Yes.
So that makes a great alternative, to going abroad.
Absolutely. There's some great options too.
Hmm.
So it's we live in a fantastic country to with lots of beauty and history and that sort of thing as well. So
Def- Definitely, yeah. So Globus has several different brands of land tours, as I mentioned in the beginning.
mhm.
Um, Globus, Cosmos, Monograms. How is each one of these different from the others?
Sure. So first what I want to say is that Globus has been around for over 90 years and we started as a family-owned company that would do kind of a escorted tour idea on the ferries of the Italian lakes, and they realized how much people loved it, so they just kind of expanded. And as the world and everything has changed, we realized that we really had to split into a number of different brands to really accommodate everybody's travel style. So, our Globus itineraries are fully escorted itineraries. They're first class. They're going to include a good number of excursions and meals with centrally located hotels. Our Cosmos product is for those who want a little bit more freedom and flexibility, or maybe want to fit in more vacations in the year or traveling on a budget. So these are going to be fully escorted itineraries that include less meals and excursions. So it does allow more free time, and some of those hotels are going to be less centrally located, so a little further out from the city center. That's what helps us keep those costs down.
Mhm.
So that's going to be our budget friendly brand. And then we have our monograms itineraries. These are going to be independent vacations. So all of the logistics are set up and taken care of for our passengers. And they get one excursion in each city. And then the remainder of the time is for them to be free and explore and adventure on their own, pick and choose how they want to spend their time in these destinations. They're not with a group. They do have a local host at the hotels to help them out with any questions and suggestions, recommendations, but they really do get that sense of traveling on their own with
Mhm.
monograms.
Yeah, I think out of those three brands, I think monograms would probably be my kind of style of travel because I kind of like to have a little support, but I kind of like to go do my own thing too. So I think that would be.
Yeah, and it depends on the destination too. If you've been to that destination before and you feel really comfortable just
Mhm.
having all the logistics set up for you, but maybe next time you want to travel, you want to go to South America or Africa, and you need a little bit more support because it's new to you, then it really helps and falls into play in those
Mhm.
situations.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So, okay. So, who would you say are Globus's competitors and what sets you apart from them?
Sure. So I would say for Globus, since we do fall into the three different brands, obviously the competitors kind of vary.
Hmm.
Monograms, I think, really does come into play with more of an FIT or maybe a fun and send kind of competitor, just because of the freedom, the flexibility, and being able to pick and choose.
Hmm.
For Cosmos, I'd probably say we would fall in line with maybe Trafalgar's Cost Saver and Gate One. That's kind of where our price range falls. Generally, we do include more excursions than Gate One. Usually, Gate One does start out with a lower price and you add what you'd like.
Hmm.
We do have a good number of excursions included, some great itineraries with Cosmos. And then with Globus, I would say we really do fall closer in line with Trafalgar and Insight in
Mm.
that category.
Hmm.
Um, for some of our exotic destinations, though, with Globus, we really can fall closer to companies like Talc.
Mm.
With our hotel selection, the inclusions that we're able to do.
Hmm.
When you're taking a look at our Africa destination with Globus and Talc, we do come in with a lower price point, but really have a lot of the same inclusions. So we do fall in line with some of those really well known competitors.
Hmm.
And I think something that really sets us apart is our customer service, our care for our passengers, and really what we do as far as giving the experience on tour. We try to include these special local favorite excursions that you wouldn't get anywhere else, that you
Hmm.
get to immerse yourself with the destination and the locals. And
Hmm.
so we really are trying to create an unforgettable experience for our passengers.
Do you actually have times where you can get like exclusive access, like can like say at the Vatican or something like that? Can you skip the line or,
We
you know?
do have all skip the line access on any of our four brands. So if it
Hmm.
is an included excursion, we do skip the lines. You have your local guides or local go- hosts with you. And the great thing that we're really coming into kind of 2021 with, which we had planned this beforehand, but now it's going to be even more beneficial, is we're actually having a feature called the Go Beyond. It is a wireless headset that you have that not only allows you to have Wi-Fi in most of our destinations,
Hmm.
so you can actually use that Wi-Fi on your phone while you're traveling, you have it there, but it also allows you to keep it with you throughout the entire trip. And then you basically just put the station that your local guide is on. So
Oh.
you can hear no matter what excursion you're on, you get all that access right there. So you don't
Hmm.
have to stand next to the guide now, get up close in a bundle.
Say, what'd you
You can
say?
kind of walk around,
Yeah,
exactly, walk
right.
around, take pictures, still hear everything, have access to Wi-Fi to stay connected. And now with the current environment, really be able to keep that social distance a priority.
That's great. That's a great idea, actually. Very,
Mhm.
that's a really cool innovation there. So,
We're really excited about it. We've used it a couple times this year. Obviously, it was going to have a bigger impact, but
mhm,
we had a different one instead. But we're really excited about it to not only be able to provide our passengers with Wi-Fi on this device,
mhm.
but also to give them their own personal way to experience the trip as much as they would have beforehand.
All right. That sounds fantastic. So, all right. So let's see. So, what makes Globus a Globus vacation, or monograms, or Cosmos vacation a great value?
So I'm going to give a personal example because one
Mhm,
of the things that I remember from my very first Globus trip, I've taken all of them, but my first trip with the Globus family was a Globus trip to Italy. It was the Italian treasures, and I had never been to Italy before. I was taking my aunt who had never been to Europe before, so it was our first venture into the grand country of Italy. And Italy can be a little overwhelming. Even though I traveled a lot, even though I'd been to Europe, even though I'd been to all of these countries, it's still with all of the people and the driving and the people checking their Facebook on their mopeds and just zipping around. And there was so much going on that it really can be a little overwhelming. So, what I loved about it was that I didn't have to worry about knowing where I was going all the time. I didn't have to worry about trying to find my way from the airport to the hotel and just those things that really can bring a level of stress to your vacation that you don't want.
Hmm.
So, having everything taken care of, but still having that free time to go off and find 14 gelato places and being able to do the shopping and haggle my leather purse down to the lowest price possible, you know?
Hmm.
So even for me, and I was in my 20s, my mid 20s when I did it, I absolutely loved it. I loved getting to meet the people on the tour because they had so much in common with me.
Hmm.
They had been to a bunch of places. They had these great stories of their life and how they were traveling now in their free time or things like that. And it just was an incredible experience for both of us. The
Hmm.
hotels were great, the food was wonderful. It's an experience I know both of us will remember forever.
Yeah.
So it really brings the vacation to you with such ease.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. I think with a lot of people think, oh gosh, guided tours. Oh gosh, I'm going to be so constricted. I'm going to, not have my independence or not go do what I want to do. But it's nice to have that structure, though. I think, but to where things are taken care of, all the logistics are taken care of, and so I can totally appreciate that as well. So.
Absolutely. It just anything can happen on these trips. I think as people of the travel industry, we see so many different things happen, and you really can only prepare as much as you can compare, like prepare within your control, and then you kind of have to just let it go and let things happen as they may,
Absolutely.
because so much can happen. But having all those details taken care of and having a company like Globus who's been around for so long and have worked with these ground handlers and these hotels for years and these tour companies, they really do see us as a company that has been, somewhat of a pillar in some of these destinations for travel.
Hmm.
So that gives us a lot of leeway and allows our clients to have a lot of confidence that things are going to be handled well, run smoothly, and you're going to get to do everything we told you you're going to. So,
Excellent. Yeah. So, yeah, I think that a lot of people can put a lot of trust into a company like Globus for sure. So, when they travel.
yes,
So,
yes.
all right. So, with the pivot to land travel, versus cruising in the past year,
Mhm.
so have you seen a significant growth in your bookings and interest in your itineraries, and just basically people wanting to go on land tours more?
Absolutely. I think that land tours and even small ship river cruising is going to see a great deal of popularity. We've
Mm.
seen a lot of bookings pick up for us more recently. I think now that there's things in the news that are a little more positive, people are getting more excited to have something on the books and something to look forward to. And so we are seeing a lot more interest in land tours. I think one thing that people don't always realize is one of the benefits of a land tour is really having that resource with you from start to finish. A story that I had thought of before this is when Peru was shutting down, um, we had a couple tour groups in Peru,
Hmm.
and we actually found out that the borders were shutting. So we were actually able to charter a plane and get all of our passengers out of the country before the shutdown.
Oh,
We
wow.
still had room on the plane, so we
Hmm.
were able to bring some other tour operator passengers back home as well, along with some of our embassy workers. So just to know that you have someone always looking out for you, always communicating with the locals, being able to know with the ground handlers what's going on, the changes in the world, not having to worry about checking the internet to see what's happening, and
Hmm.
just knowing you have someone with you that's going to take care of you, I think is a great encouragement for people to take land tours, to have that person there with you in case anything does go wrong.
Right. Yeah, that definitely gives an extra measure, I think, of security and confidence, for sure.
Hmm.
So when you travel, because yeah, when you're on either on an FIT or an independent tour or even on a cruise, I mean, you obviously don't have that person looking out after you. so so yeah, it's great to have that for sure. So and probably
Absolutely.
especially now too. So.
Especially now, I think even transitioning into what our new normal is going to be, I think touring is going to be a great option.
Hmm.
And I am a firm believer that once people do some of these itineraries, they're going to realize how easy it is and how there are those mixtures between escorted and independent that you can find, and you can find the right mix for yourself
Hmm.
to really enjoy escorted touring even after this transitional period.
Yeah, exactly. So. Okay, so my blogging specialty and travel advising is with active adventure, culinary, and wellness. So, how would Globus's brands best serve travelers in that niche? Say if I were to talk to them and they were expressing an interest in going on a land tour like this. So,
Sure.
hmm.
So, one of the great things that we've really done with our optional excursions is or are included in optional, is we've really tried to continue to grow with what's happening. We know that health is a big interest to people. We want to stay healthy even on vacation, or we want to make sure that we've burned all that wine that we drank at dinner the night before. So, we want to make sure we're getting even.
Right.
But so we've included a number of our excursions, and we've included a number of our itineraries that focus on these things. So we have itineraries that are going to focus on beer for our beer enthusiasts. We have itineraries that will include breweries in the Pacific Northwest, since that's such a big place for breweries. We're going to include hikes to vineyards during the wine tastings, things of that nature, to make sure that you're getting the most of these experiences. And then, of course, for those people who don't want to hike up to the vineyard, we'll take them up. But
Uh-huh.
we do always try to allow those options there.
Hmm.
And so we will have themed itineraries as well for
Okay.
people who specifically want something like that. Garden enthusiasts, we have, let me think about this. We have World War II, World War One, Jewish heritage, all of those things that are really going to spark interest and have a little bit more to give on those
Hmm.
particular itineraries.
Okay. Yeah. And I just think too that when you can kind of add those, more specialty, the more specialty travel, then that's going to definitely draw more people to you, I think, because I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. They don't want just the, one size fits all experience, I think.
Oh,
So,
yeah, absolutely not. It's not. We've seen that that's never going to work. People are different. They want to spend their time different ways. They want to have that freedom. And so that's what we've really tried to work on, is making sure you have a choice.
mhm,
Yes, this is a package deal. Yes, this is what's all included. But how much do you want to do? We want you to spend your vacation how you imagined it.
exactly. Yeah. So, okay. So, I think you probably get this question maybe, I don't know how often, but I think it's, kind of this misconception about what touring is all about, or land tours are all about. A lot of people just think, oh, it's just for the older folks, and, for people who just want to, go on a bus and go from place to place and everything. So what would you tell people like that who say, oh, well, land tours aren't for me. I'm too young for that or something? To dispel that misconception, what would you tell them?
You know, I don't think land tours are meant to be for maybe an older crowd. I just think that previously, people who have maybe want to make sure that their retirement trip or the trip that they've saved up for, all those details are taken care of and it's easy and they don't have to worry about it. But that's a concern that we all have. We
Hmm.
want value for our money. We want our vacation to be enjoyable. We want to see as much as possible, and we want to make sure we have that freedom and flexibility. We have absolutely had to kind of transition certain things about our tours throughout the years to make sure that we're accommodating that. And that's something that I'm proud to say we work on constantly. We're always getting feedback and ideas. But those main characters of what we want in our vacation doesn't change no matter what our age is. We want the value, we want the good time, we want the ease.
Mhm.
And so I think that people who get to see how easy an escorted tour is and how much you get to see and how much freedom and flexibility you do have would be quite surprised.
Oh, sure.
If
Yeah.
that's something that they are hesitant about, a monogram's itinerary would be the perfect transition to really see how much we can do for you, but you get to pick and choose how much you want to let us.
Mhm. All right.
So, but the age doesn't matter. I mean, I told you my first tour was when I was in my mid 20s and I loved it. It was one of my favorite tours ever
Right.
because it was so easy.
Just kind of related to that, do Globus, and the others, do you sometimes have like multi-generation travel, like families that go with on these tours or?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So we have seen children the age of 5 and up. They are allowed on our tours.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting because a lot of times when we do have children traveling on our departure dates, you'd be surprised how mature they are. They've been
Uh-huh.
to a lot of places, they've traveled before. This is something that they genuinely enjoy to do. So you really are traveling with like minded people. Grandparents are taking their children and their grandchildren. We're seeing skip generation parties where grandchildren are going with their grandparents
Right.
as trips. So a lot of different things. Something I think we're seeing as well is people within their 30s through their 50s really starting to take advantage of our products because of the value that you get. So
Mhm.
we're seeing a lot of girls trips. We're seeing different groups. Like we had a knitting group, we have reading book clubs, all of that taking advantage of these itineraries, getting to do something together, shared interest, and really making sure that they're getting their money's worth.
Mhm.
So we're seeing a lot.
I'd like to be part of that knitting group. I actually knit, so
They had a
I really
blast,
know.
they really had a blast. They actually ended up taking a Avalon River cruise with us as well.
Oh.
And so we were able to set up some yarn store shops for them. So they would
Ooh.
go, they'd buy their yarn at the beginning, come back, we'd set up some time for them to knit and chat and listen to music. So
Mhm.
just a
See, that's
neat way to get together with the people that you care about. Yeah.
yes. See, to me, that sounds like fun too. So,
It's a lot of fun,
yeah.
and you meet so many incredible people on these itineraries. You
Mhm.
really do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess one thing that I definitely wanted to address is how are you ensuring safety for travelers on your tours? So,
Sure, sure.
because given
So,
COVID and everything, so.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Our passenger safety is always our number one priority. This has always been something that's been very important to us. So, we've enhanced basically our trips with a couple different things. One, we have our peace of mind policy, which allows you to put your land and insurance deposit down. If you decide that you want to move to a different departure date, maybe later in the future, maybe stay closer to home and move your departure to a North America itinerary, or even switch brands, you're able to do that up until your final payment for your itinerary. So
Right.
gives you something to get excited about.
Mhm.
Have a vacation on the books. And if something comes up, if things change, you have that freedom and flexibility to move your deposit.
Mhm.
The second thing that we've done is we have done our on tour assurance. And so we do have some great written information if you're interested in that. But it's basically telling you about our procedures, about what that new normal is going to be on our itineraries. So I'll just mention some for our motor coaches real quick. We have an air filtration system on our motor coaches, filtering the air throughout the trips. Everyone will be doing health checks at the beginning of the trip and throughout, temperature checks, things of that nature. We've removed a lot of the touch points. So when you had to handle your bags or things like that, we've either removed them, so there's no waiting in line to check in at your hotel. You're given your key and you get to go up to your room immediately. All of your luggage is going to be handled. Anytime we handle your luggage, we're going to sanitize it. Anytime you're about to handle your luggage, we're going to give you a sanitizer to sanitize as much as necessary.
Mhm.
The buses are going to be cleaned whenever the passengers get off. So we're really putting a lot of attention to detail in that. And we are starting to use UV and electrostatic cleaning, which allows us to clean our ships and motor coaches more efficiently and more frequently.
Hmm. Okay. And about the size of the groups, I mean, are the groups smaller as a result as well, or?
So we so right now that's a hard question to answer as far as what the actual number is because
Mm-hmm.
each country may have different requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see how that actual number goes. But what we've done in that case is we have created our small group discovery departure dates. So those are going to be a maximum of 24 passengers on our departures for that. So
Okay.
those are available worldwide. We're going to have those small departure dates. So no matter what happens, if things go back to normal or whatnot, we know these are going to be the small group departure dates.
Okay. All right. Well, so
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for spending some time and having this conversation with me, and just what I want to do is to educate people about land tours or escorted tours right now, as an alternative to cruising. If they've been cruising before, or just something that
Mhm.
it's just something new to try, as they're trying to ease back into travel here. So, um, thanks so much, Amanda. I really appreciate your time. So,
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. And
mhm.
I'm happy to come back anytime. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, we'll have to probably at some point talk about Avalon. So.
Absolutely. I would love to. I'd love to. It's a great experience. So
Yeah, for sure.
perfect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Janice. Have a good
Okay.
one.